Hello and welcome back to the channel. We are in the comfort of the living room today, so you may see little dog ears pop in here now and again. There's one. So today I am going to talk, let me warn you in advance, spoilers. This is going to be an entirely spoiler discussion about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. So I watched this last week. I haven't done a video about it as yet because I wanted to allow it to ruminate a little bit. And the main thing I wanted to do about it was ask you guys loads of questions that I had after watching it. Other people's reviews I've watched, some good, some bad, some liked it, some didn't. But nobody really sort of addressed the questions I had. And I'm like, am I just thick? Quite potentially. So you can let me know in the description. I just had so many what the fuck moments with this movie. I just wanted to share that with you. So obviously if you haven't seen the movie, please don't watch this because I'm going to spoil it all the way through, everything that happens. So yeah, let's get into I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I have seen all the original movies. I'm neither a massive fan nor do I dislike them. I think they're okay. I enjoy them, more so the first one. Now, I did remember while watching this movie that it is very similar to the original, more or less what I gathered from watching other people's reviews. It's a copy at the beginning. My memory's shot. I can watch a movie twice and forget most of what happens if I leave a long enough gap between them, so that doesn't always occur to me. This movie, so what did I think of it? Overall, before I get into any of the questions I had, I thought it was okay. I didn't feel the need to get up and leave the cinema, that it was so bad. I know some other people did. Jen's Reviews from the Grave for this movie is hilarious. I highly recommend you go check that out for a really funny review. There's nothing I enjoy more than a review of a person that's really not liked a movie. They're my favourite kind of reviews. I just find them really funny. What irks people about movies? And I do share quite a few of the irks that Jen had, I have to admit. So it was okay. I didn't like the original source material enough to be annoyed by it. I quite like the return of two of the main characters. There's so much shit going about online about Jennifer Love Hewitt and how she looks different to when she was a teenager in the first movie. I'm like, hello, it's 28 years later. No pun intended. It's just ridiculous. That's a side point. I find the movie okay. I gave it did I give it a 3 out of 5 or a 2.5 out of 5? I don't remember. I thought the performances were all absolutely fine. I thought the actors all did a good job with what they were given. I think that's the operative words here. The effects were all fine. There was a couple of CG effects that I really did not like. One involving a neck. Well, actually I can do a spoiler. One where a hook goes in a neck and comes out the other side. I thought the CGI blood was pretty pants in that scene. There were questions I had as to, well, why is he not doing this? Does anyone know how heavy those big cages are? Like the big sea cages that comes down over one of the characters at one point. Why did she not just push it over? Is it too heavy to push over? I don't know. But I'm like, why are you not trying to push the fucking thing over? You would at least try and realise that it was too heavy and then give up. But I liked the movie in a sense that it was easy to watch. I didn't hate it. I liked the acting. I thought it was extremely predictable, but that doesn't really bother me. But they just expected you to suspend disbelief for too many times. Just so many plot holes, just so many what the actual fuck decisions. Like Jen, whose review I watched, which I absolutely love it. If I remember, I'll pop it down in the comments. We have a character, pretty much we think they're dead near the end of the movie, and they have them reappear with the ability to have swam from when they've been dropped into the ocean, way out, God only knows where, to get to the beach, supposedly fatally injured, and they're there, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, really? But I'll tell you what really irritated me, and please explain to me if I'm being thick here. So, we're going to majorly spoil everything here, including who the killers are. Right, so at the beginning of the movie, we have an engagement party. We have a group of 4 teenagers. 2 are engaged, 2 used to go out but no longer do, but there's all that sexual tension. And they are joined by another ex-member of their crew, I suppose, when they were at school. 4 of them went off to uni, 1 stayed behind, and the one that stayed behind was kind of not ostracised by choice, but life happens, people move on, they go to uni, This person had problems with her dad. They sort of got separated. They run into one another after this party. They all get together. They decide to go up to watch the fireworks, and that is when the accident happens. As with the first movie, someone is hit. One of the guys is in the middle of the road being a complete tit. Someone comes round, swerves to avoid him, goes off the side of like a cliff, down he goes, he's dead. Now, there are several things about that irritated me to start with. One of the characters tries to get the guy out of the car, but because it doesn't go straight over, it's sort of teetering on the edge of the precipice before it goes. And he's trying to get the guy out. The rest of them are at the back of the car pulling, because that's going to work. And he loses his shirt. The guy grabs his shirt and he has to end up like quickly releasing it in order to not fall over himself. That's never brought back into the movie, which I thought it would have been. It's like, what was the point of that scene? Could they got away with it scot-free if it wasn't for... I'm feeling like Scooby-Doo already. Scooby-Doo may well make a few more references. Could they have got away with it if it wasn't for the fact that his shirt with his DNA was in the car? But they never come back to that. Another point is, if you're on a road with a group of people, some people are pissed up in the middle of the road, being a bit of an arse. A car swerves to avoid them, goes over the edge. Now, are you going to say to the police, well, he was in the middle of the road being a dickhead and he swerved to avoid him and went off the edge? Or are you going to say, we were up here watching the fireworks and a car came around the corner too fast and he's gone off the edge? Why did they not call the police? Why did they automatically think they were going to be in trouble for this guy's death when no one's going to know that one of the guys was in the middle of the road and the car had to swerve to go around him? You would just phone the police. The fact that they didn't phone the police is fucking ridiculous in my opinion. But anyway, that's what happened. They all agreed to keep it secret. They don't go to the police. But young lad that was in the middle of the road arsing about, his father, was he like one of the top police chiefs? He manages to like hide it, like everything's brushed over. So it irritated me to start with how they reacted to the accident. It irritated me that we had the setup of the shirt in the car that we never went back to. But what irritated me more than anything was the reveals as to who the killers were. Now, I'd actually worked out there were two and who they were, because it was blatantly obvious. The girl that had been ostracised from her friends, her viewpoint was, you all went to uni and you forgot about me, you left me behind. It's like, all right, I wonder who the killer's going to be. But then it was very evident in certain scenes that the killer was not female. They were larger, they were very powerful, very strong. Well, that can't be a woman. Please don't make that a woman, because she couldn't have done that. But we have a second killer, and again, we see that the young girl, Stacey, I think her name was, is actually working for Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character. He's back from the original, and it's like, right, okay. So obviously those two are going to be the killers, which is what happened. So it's hideously predictable. But the main thing I don't understand about this is her, her motive for this situation is that they all left her. She had a complete mental breakdown. She had a drug issue after stuff that happened with her dad. They all swanned off and went about their lives and left her behind. So she's angry. Okay. Pardon the movement. My son's upstairs. Freddie Prinze Jr.'s... What's his character name? So I don't have to keep saying that. So his character name's Ray. So Ray's motive is that he's pissed that the town has forgotten about the 28-year-old, or is it whatever, however many years it is, I don't remember. The town has forgotten about what happened to them when they were younger, and they're trying to move on and sort of remodel the town, forget about the history, and he's pissed that they're not remembering what happened, which seems to me one of the most ridiculous motives I've ever heard in my life. It turns out he was married to, her name is June. Is that Julie or June? Julie, Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, and they've since separated. They're not very, they don't get along. Obviously, it wasn't a very happy marriage. She wants to move on with her life and completely forget the situation, which I'm with. And he wants everyone to remember what happened. And what he's going to do to make everyone remember is go about killing people. Same with this younger girl. Now, I'm willing to believe her motive because she took loads of drugs. She was fucked up. She's young. Her head's not in the right place, but his motives haven't gone through this before. But here we get to the crux of my issue. So they planned this together. How did they know? Now, obviously it happens on the 4th of July. the original accident happened all those years ago on the 4th of July. Exactly the same thing happened on the road, car hit someone, it's all hidden. The guy that's hit in the car in this movie turns out to be the best friend of Stacy, the female killer, knows Ray, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character, very well. They're like a really good friend of theirs. So if they're planning on this shit happening, how did they plan for it to happen on the 4th of July? How did they know that these kids would be back in town for this engagement party? How did they know that they would be up on that mountain or on where this big road watching the fireworks? Why was it her mate that was in the car that went off the side? Was that just incidental? Was that not planned? And if none of that was planned, how coincidental is it that this thing happened on the 4th of July on the anniversary of the original one with no input from anyone else? So if it just happened, if it was just one of those things and it just happened, it's very coincidental she ended up being there. And if her and Ray were planning some sort of like murder spree, did they make that plan after the accident where her friend died? Or was this plan in the process for years? What's the crack? What's going on? So either we're expected to swallow that coincidentally exactly the same thing happened on exactly the same date on more or less a similar place to very similar dynamic of people, and we have a tie to the original event, and the person that ends up dying is the best friend of a person that goes on to be a killer that copies the original killer with a hook, blah, blah, blah. What? When was it planned? When did they plan it? Did Ray and did Ray and Stacy decide they were going to recreate the killer after this accident? Like that, oh, I know what you did. We're either expected to believe it was planned for that date. If we're meant to believe that, she wouldn't have been able to make him get into the middle of the road and cause an accident. She wouldn't have known any cars would come past. She wouldn't have known her mate was coming around the corner. So I'm erring towards it was just a big coincidence that we had exactly the same thing happen on exactly the same night of the year to the same type of people in the same sort of place that was just going to tie into this girl from this same town that wanted revenge, and her boss also wanted it's like, are you expecting us to swallow this? That this is what's happened? There was no explanation as to what they'd been planning, when they'd planned it, what they'd planned, any of that sort of stuff. No explanation, and I'm like, I need it to make sense, and it's not making sense. Now, the only part of the movie that I wasn't scratching my head at going, what the fuck is going on here? And it's ridiculous, and it's exactly the same as 28 days later. 28 years later, everyone hated the ending. I was like, oh, this is a bit different. I didn't expect that, so I didn't hate it. I liked the after or the mid-credit scene in this. A lot of people really didn't. I quite liked it, I have to admit. I'm like, yes, we like this. Does this mean there's going to be another one with these two? I hope so. Now, I'm a glutton for punishment. I didn't particularly like this one. I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. But I just expected the world to be fucking stupid. And you're maybe thinking, Lisa, you are stupid. Obviously, it wasn't planned for that accident to happen. They planned it after the accident happened. Yeah, okay, I'm willing to buy that because it's the only thing that makes even an iota of sense. But why did they have to have it happen on the same date, on the anniversary? And why did they have to have it somehow be tied to these people that wanted revenge? That included a person that was linked back to that same original event. It's like the coincidences are staggering, and I'm not willing to fucking buy them, to be honest with you. So I think actually I can tell you what I gave it because my Letterboxd is open here. I'm about to do a what I watched because I haven't done one in ages. My fucking laptop's gonna give up. The power cord keeps stopping working. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think that's quite generous, to be honest. I'll leave it at that, but that probably is a little bit more generous than it should have been. So, right, it's now recognising it's plugged in again. I don't know what's the crack with this laptop. I'm on a stream tonight, and wait till you see it pick in today to like play up. I am on a stream tonight with Scott, the movie critic, Andy's Forgotten World of Movies, and Nige, Rock God. Really looking forward to it. I've really wanted to be on a stream with these guys, but Friday nights was usually, like, I'm a scout leader, I know, Kel surprise, and Friday night's scout night, so it's not normally something I would have got to do, but I'm off for the summer. Scouts aren't in summer, so I've finally got a chance to do it, which is awesome. So if I get this up in time, check out tonight, 8 o'clock on Scott's channel, and we'll be having a bit of chat. So yeah, thank you for watching my meanderings, my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Over and out from Lisa Lives.